Hello and welcome to the last talk in the series on conscious personality management. At the heart of this series, we've been speaking about the fact that our personality has various layers, various components, and each of these layers have been very intelligently designed by life and have evolved over time for the purpose of serving our evolution. Having said that, in the human context, we often speak about this idea of building and developing our personality for its own sake, which is dangerous, which causes a lot of self-service, and it ends up causing conflict in the world. And therefore, the idea of conscious management of our personality and not so much development of it is so as to ensure that we use our personality actively as a tool, we nurture it as far as is needed, but at the same time, always remember to consciously notice that the personality at the end of the day is meant to serve us. It is a tool and nothing more. And we are not our personality. We are something beyond that. And so in the very first talk in this series, we spoke about the personality as distinguished from our higher self. We often use the term consciousness to describe the higher self. And the point we've been making throughout the series of talks is that each of the layers of personality that we spoke about, the four components, each of them are meant to serve a higher self, are meant to serve the consciousness that inhabits the personality, that uses the personality as a tool. And it is important to remember this equation, this hierarchy, even in terms of who serves who, which part of us serves which part of us. If we forget it, sometimes we end up being in a self-serving mode, which is not always healthy, not only for the individual self, but also for the world that we live in. And therefore, the whole point of managing our personality consciously is to ensure that we firstly pick and choose the right battles and not get embroiled in, let's say, a whirlpool of emotions or an intellectual debate around something which is not necessarily serving anyone. Right? It may give us an immediate sense of thrill. However, it doesn't really leave a lasting victory for anyone involved here if we let our personality lead the way. Instead, if we let our higher self lead the way, the world could be better for not only us, but for everyone around us. And that's a theme that's been constantly reiterated in multiple ways through mythology, through our literature. For example, the image that you see on the screen of Darth Vader and Luke Skywalker, and that fight about the personality and the higher self, where Darth Vader in Star Wars ends up submitting to his personality and to his needs, which are driven by his emotional and mental self, whereas Luke Skywalker stands for something beyond that, stands and fights for something which is higher than a simple self-serving purpose. So that's a battle that we are always called to fight by life. But before we start fighting, it's important to choose what is the right battle. Who am I fighting for? Is it my personality or is it something beyond? The purpose of the personality, as we said, is beautiful. It is to help us evolve, both individually as well as collectively. And of course, when we were in our previous stages of evolution, particularly in the animal mode, our personalities completely overtook us as instinct, right? There was no sense of channeling our will our own life force to make decisions. As humans, we do much better than that. We are able to channel our will and direct our personality quite beautifully when we remember to do so. And at this stage of our evolution, it's important that we always stay mindful of the fact that the personality is just a tool and that it has a higher purpose, which is to go beyond itself, which is to reach our higher self by using the personality as a pathway, as a tool. And therefore, there is nothing wrong about us having a personality or even nurturing it, but we need to understand what is the right amount of nourishment, what is the right amount of nurturance that we need to give our personality, beyond which it becomes indulgence. And so use the personality in the right manner, in the right measure, at the right time, in the right place. And so the final point of reflection I leave you with in this series is to think about how are you evolving and what are you evolving towards. Is your personality contributing towards this evolution, or is it coming in the way at times? And if it is coming in the way at times, that's all right. That's part of the human process. It's important in those moments to remember that our personality is just the vehicle. We are the driver of that vehicle, and we need to take charge. It's an opportunity. I hope you have fun, and I hope you have an intellectual high and an emotional high and a physical high as you go about managing your personality. And at the same time, I really hope that the high is just enough to motivate, and it's not an addiction. It is not a dependence. It is the kind of joy that comes from being able to regulate ourselves as we live life. Wish you the very best. Thank you.
Help Talks are daily health-related talks held at Health Education Library for People, Mumbai, India. For more information visit www.healthlibrary.com. Subscribe to Help Talks channel. Be better informed about your health.